everything up.
Do you want to talk about transportation board and our other considerations, or should we just let Mr. Lindhart just take care of that in his own?
Let's just wait. I always forgot I was doing it. When we've got it set up, we'll just talk about that.
Sounds good.
And that way, you just kind of know what it's going to be made up of and stuff like that.
That's good. That works for me.
Something different.
Someone on the phone?
New challenge. Learn new things.
November.
See what happens.
You're in my office.
Walk up.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Logan City Council. Our opening ceremony this evening will be given by Councilmember Amy Anderson, who will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Election Day. The cornerstone of a healthy democratic process is respectful and constructive discourse, even when we disagree. It seems to me as if a rise in divisive rhetoric and hostile behavior in public discourse has led to increased polarization and a decline in public trust in all levels of government, including here in Logan. We should strive to disagree better to facilitate difficult conversations, resolve conflicts, and build consensus to solve our challenges. I'd like to share ideas learned when I attended the Dignity Index Summit along with Mike Johnson a couple of weeks ago, with some information also from their website. The Dignity Index teaches a scale that measures what we do when we disagree. Each point represents a particular mindset toward the other side, ranging from seeing no dignity on the other side to seeing dignity in everyone, no matter what. What is dignity? It is the inherent worth we all have from birth. Recognizing human dignity encourages us to treat others with respect, empathy, and understanding. When we honor another person's dignity, we acknowledge their humanity, regardless of their background, beliefs, or status. This recognition helps us move beyond biases and prejudices, allowing us to interact with people based on shared human values. Along with our survival instincts, the longing to be treated with dignity is the single most powerful force motivating our behavior. Yet, we all use contempt. It's a natural response to pain and frustration. I've responded with contempt out of hurt, a desire to defend myself or my position, fatigue, hunger. I've fallen into us versus them thinking at times. It seems most every one of us think our contempt is good contempt, a virtuous response to the evil of the other side. So we don't see the damage we do to others or our city or our country when we respond with contempt. When we use it, we create enemies for ourselves and the causes we care about. I don't want to live in a culture of contempt, where the conviction exists that if you don't attack the other side, you're enabling them, that you're letting them get away with it. So what can we do? The road to success is paved with small failures. We may not always approach our disagreements with dignity. There will be times we say or do things that reflect contempt, but the real failure comes when we quit believing in dignity as the hope for easing divisions. So 1, think about the impact of doom scrolling and time spent on social media sites, succumbing to clickbait that continues to feed us more and more of the same. It is there that contempt gives us an addictive buzz. People exploit that addiction to get rich and powerful themselves. Famous people sell us contempt, but ordinary citizens are the ones creating a market for it. Can you resist the lure of contempt when it's used to draw you into the news? What stories are more likely to draw you in? How do you react? We can choose to step away, to click not interested, to refrain from viewing. Secondly, contempt prevents compromise and problem solving. It damages trust. Honoring people's dignity does not mean softening our passions on any matter of principle. It doesn't call on us to drop any conviction, but to add one, that everyone should be treated with dignity and no one should be treated with contempt. Finally, the Dignity Index is meant to measure the language we use in moments of conflict. But the most important dialogue starts within ourselves. It's fascinating that people often afford high levels of dignity to those that we're in conflict with, yet we fail to offer the same to ourselves. I was raised in a home where faith was a priority. My father was a pastor and my mom was a parochial school teacher. In Matthew, Christ replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself." The same concept applies here. We need to afford ourselves the same dignity as we work hard to show dignity to others. By embracing self-dignity and rejecting self-contempt, we'll be better equipped to extend dignity to those we disagree with. Whatever spirit or belief guides your interactions with others, I hope it inspires you to connect dignity with loving your neighbor. Let's strive to build a neighborhood and a city with less contempt and more dignity. I invite you to join me in a prayer. Dear God, I ask for your divine intervention in our community. May your peace reign in our midst, bringing an end to conflicts and discord that threaten to divide us. I pray that you would grant us the wisdom to resolve our differences peacefully. May your spirit of tranquility permeate our streets, our homes, and our hearts. And Lord, guide our newly elected leaders and empower them to promote unity and understanding among all members of our community. Provide them with the will to govern with integrity and fairness. May they have the courage to make difficult decisions and the compassion to consider the needs of all people. I ask that you would bless them with discernment and understanding. Grant them the strength to stand firm in their convictions and the humility to listen to the voices of those they serve. Pour out your grace upon us all that we may live as brothers and sisters, working together for the betterment of our community. In your mercy and abundant love, hear my prayer. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Amy. That was a very, very important message for all of us. Thank you. Now is the time in our agenda where we accept the minutes from the past meeting and we approve the agenda for this evening. I believe the mayor has a couple of extra items under her staff reports, but I do not believe we need to add them specifically, as long as you're aware.
I'll move for acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda.
Just want to clarify, I did reach out to Teresa to add a little more detail to some of the discussion in the minutes.
Okay.
So assuming that those things will be implemented, I second the motion.
Okay.
As amended.
Any further? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30. Our next meeting is here, November 18th at 5:30. We now open the floor for questions and comments for the mayor and council. We ask that you limit your comments to items that are not otherwise on the agenda and things that we can actually have an impact on. Please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
Hi, Josh Molitor from Logan. Happy Election Day, everybody. I remember the first time I got to vote back in the '92 elections when Clinton and Bush Sr. were going at it. Can you guess? Anybody got a wild guess who I voted for? Ralph Nader. I was 18 years old, and the one thing that my mother instilled into me was research your candidate. Always research your candidate. back then it was a lot harder to research candidates, but from what was instilled into me was always do that. And so I hope everybody here research your candidates. It's a very important choice. Anyway, that's not the reason that I'm here. The reason that I'm here is that 2 weeks ago, I feel like I owe you guys an apology for 2 weeks ago. During the last part of the session, I got irate up here, and, you know, I didn't swear per se, but, you know, I said the hell word a couple of times, and I want to apologize to you for my conduct that was unbecoming of what was going on. What happened that night was not about what was happening in the council. Things build up, you know, I have a tendency to have things build up and then they explode. And that was just one of those things. What was happening here, I mean, just a little bit, but that was just kind of like the top of the, you know, the tip of the iceberg that actually ends up at the tip of the volcano that actually explodes. It really didn't have anything to do with you. That was on me. So, Holly, council members, everybody that was here with that, I humbly apologize for my behavior. So, thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, I will bring it back to the council. We'll move now to our mayor and staff reports. Mayor Daines?
Thank you very much. Since it is election day, as folks have noted, I thought I would give you just a little update on what the procedure will be tonight. We'd like to excuse Teresa Harris, our city recorder. She is down at the ballot center. If you haven't voted, you still have until 8 p.m. tonight to either drop a ballot in the ballot, any of the ballot boxes around the county, or to vote in person at the county event center. Ballots will be counted and processed at the Ballot Processing Center, which is located out at the Logan Cache Airport, and they'll tabulate votes as quickly as possible, and unofficial initial results are expected to be announced at 8:15 p.m. with a second update at 9 p.m. Now, I did go out to the ballot center again, but people are welcome to go. They have you sign in, and they did tell me that the ballots that come in, you know, later today will not be counted until tomorrow. So again, there will be still quite a few ballots to count, and then they'll give an additional update tomorrow. So, and then the signature cure deadline for voters with signature issues is Wednesday, November 12th. Once that deadline has passed and all ballots have been verified and counted, and there are no recounts, the official results will be available on November 13th, and the canvass of the election results for the Logan City is scheduled for Monday, November 17th at 4 p.m., after which time results are officially final. But again, the unofficial results will be posted first on the Cache County website, and then they'll be posted on the city website. So if any of you are wanting to follow that this evening, that is how you can do that. The second item I'd just like to announce, this week is Utah Week of Giving, and we've just received notification from the League of City of Towns, the states. As we know, especially at this time of the year, there are many citizens in our communities who struggle from food insecurity and hunger, and this is a great time to support the food pantry. You'll see we have a box out in the City Hall lobby. The library also has a box where they're collecting donations, and they'll be taken directly to the food pantry. So we encourage you to support that. The library is even offering fine forgiveness for food donations. So if you do have library fines, you could have a win-win here. So take advantage of either of those locations or other community programs to support the food pantry. So we'd encourage that. All right, the next item on the agenda is number 6A, a board appointment, and I'm delighted to announce an appointment to the Connect Transit Board. Logan does appoint several members there. I'd like to ask John Zaray to stand. He's in the back. He was there. He is being nominated for the Transit Board. We're actually asking the council to ratify that appointment, but he said, I have been a committed rider since the days of the Logan Transit District, and I have seen the system grow and evolve into an essential community service. And then he's also served on the library board, so he understands, how boards work, and he's willing to help the community. So we appreciate his willingness to serve, and I would ask for his ratification.
I've had the pleasure of working with John and the library board, and been impressed with his ability not only to be a member, but actually to lead the board. And I'd be happy to move to ratify John on the board for Connect.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Great, thank you. And his term will start in January, so that's when he will officially take
He
that
has to
role.
finish being on the library board first, right?
Right. So thank you very much, John. We appreciate your being here tonight. Item B is a recognition, and I actually have 2 recognitions for individuals in the Public Works Department. The first is this APWA award that's on the agenda, and just so you know, the last few years, Logan has sponsored a valley-wide Public Works Road-EO, R-O-A-D-E-O, where nearly 100 equipment operators from the entire county, from Public Works departments around the county, held a competition to find the best equipment operators in the valley. It's kind of fun to watch, to see all the skill tests they have. And then the top finishers are sent to the state competition sponsored by the Utah chapter of the American Public Works Association, or APWA. 2 of our employees, Jordan Porter, a water maintenance crew chief with almost 11 years of experience, and Nate Christensen, a streets heavy equipment operator with 15 years experience, won the local competition and went on to the state competition, where Jordan won first place overall and Nate won second place overall. So you can see Logan City was well represented at that state competition. So as a result of that, next year Jordan and Nate will be sent to Houston, courtesy of the Utah Public Works Association, to compete in the National Equipment Rodeo to represent Utah and of course Logan City. So we congratulate them and would like to ask them to come forward, and I have some very nice plaques for them. So Jordan, come down, and Nathan.
And you have to stand for a photo.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, here. And
Get
the
over
Director of
here.
Public Department will take a photo.
We'll just take about 5 minutes to do this.
You better hurry. I'll take a Anyway, thank you for your good work.
So gentlemen, can you tell us what you won doing?
Just running equipment.
What
There
kind
was-
of equipment?
All kinds of
there was a
equipment?
Loader, there was a backhoe, a mini-X.
Is there a grader? I mean, it's like they'll have to, like, once I went down, did you like put tires in a bin, or you, I mean, tell us some of the details. I mean, and they were timed to do it. They were timed and accuracy and.
Basically just like puzzles with equipment.
Oh.
It's pretty challenging.
But fun?
Yeah, it's fun. Some of them are very delicate, meticulous, others are speed, obstacle course.
You didn't have to drive a road grader in an obstacle course, did you?
Yep.
Oh. It seems like a really tough job. Well, you don't have to say anymore. I just wondered what it was you actually did to win your award. And congratulations, and I hope I hope you go and beat everybody.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
So thank you for And the other Public Works employee we would like to recognize is Derek Kimball, who is the Assistant City Engineer, and he has been serving for 11 years. Over his nearly 30-year career, Derek has been involved with the American Water Works Association, or AWWA as it's known, which is the largest organization of water supply professionals, scientists, and water utilities in the world. Most municipalities in the nation follow the AWWA standards for water system development. Derek was recently elected as director of the AWWA's Utah-Idaho sector, and as director, he'll be part of a national discussion on supplying drinking water and will keep the sector and its members informed on regulatory issues and proposed national legislation. For example, when the EPA proposes a new regulation or change, AWWA will quickly engage in the process to represent water municipalities and work to drive realistic, science-based regulations. And in 2024, he also received the AWWA George Warren Fuller Award, presented annually for distinguished service to the water supply field. So Derek, if you'd just come up for a moment so we can recognize you. We don't have a plaque for you, but we just wanted to recognize you for this achievement. So. All right, I think they want a photo there too.
Uh-oh, you get your picture taken.
So again, we appreciate you representing our city so well on this national level, and
Thank you very much.
thank you for your hard work.
For your support.
Well,
Excellent.
You had a question? Or
no, keep doing the good work.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you, Derek. We appreciate it. Good, and then my last item is, just to let you know, the city was approved through the COG, which is the Council of Governments. They provide transportation funding. Our project on 400 North was the top grant request that was recommended by the COG for $5.8 million. That's being considered at the county council meeting, which is also tonight. So depending on this, we have a staff member there to represent us, but he may text me if the meeting works out. I might slip out a little early to go over and support kind of our application that is being, we hope, approved by the county council. So with that, I'm through with my report. Thank you very much for allowing me a couple of extra items.
No problem. We'll move now to council business. The first item is a planning commission update. The last planning commission approved a 6-unit for-sale condominium building that will go directly behind the municipal court building. There's a very narrow lot there, and that is what they're hoping to be able to put there. The Planning Commission approved that. The other item is a code change that we will be workshopping at the end of the meeting, so we'll talk about that then. And we will go now to our board and committee reports. I'm going to let you go first, Mike.
Sounds great. Couple boards to update on. RESAB met a couple weeks ago. They always line up with a weird schedule. It feels like forever ago because it was 3 weeks ago. So it was, right after I report every month. But they met a couple weeks back and had another update from KW Engineering that's doing the what is the term I'm looking for here? The energy efficiency program, pilot program for light and power. And they're working with commercial entities to see if they can find ways to increase the energy efficiency of those. They're also looking for a new board member, so that was part of the discussion they had. And then they did review the solar project, the solar battery project that we saw last week from Mark Montgomery, 2 weeks ago from Mark Montgomery. So they looked over that as well, and obviously were in favor of purchasing more solar power. The audit committee met a couple weeks ago, and they met with our auditors who it seemed gave us glowing remarks and didn't really have any major concerns. So it was great to be able to meet with them and talk through that about 2 weeks ago. Other meetings I've been to, I went to the United Today Stronger Tomorrow listening session, and I know Mark and Amy both attended that with me a couple weeks back. But it was great they held a meeting over the library where it was great to just sit with a table of residents from across the county. My table had some people from Logan and some people from other municipalities in the area and talk with them about their concerns and what's affecting their lives. And I thought it was a great evening to sit and just...
It was really fun.
It was good.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It's hard to get a diverse group of people, 8 to 10 people to sit at a table and talk about what's affecting their life without it becoming partisan or political, and just what they see as issues and solutions, and be able to listen.
There was close to 100 people there.
They filled the library rooms. It was awesome.
And a lot of diversity in political and walk of life, like everything.
Yep.
So it was great. Yeah.
I hope they do another one sometime in the future. I found it a rewarding night. I also attended the Dignity Index that Amy talked about in her opening remarks, which was a fantastic day learning about how we can be more dignified in politics and in America in general. That was
in
their
life.
and in life. That was their first ever
First ever.
conference. Correct?
People from all over the country.
I know. I thought it was going to be like this little Utah thing, and then I sat down at a table with people, and Amy, I think, was the only other one from Utah at my table, which was kind of refreshing and nice to spend the day with them. Last week I attended the Cash Summit, which is put on by Bragg, and most of the sessions I attended on that were focused around housing and housing affordability and transportation, which was a great day to get some more education and network with those in the Valley that are involved in housing and transportation. A few of us attended the Homecoming Parade a couple weeks ago. I've had multiple Canyon Road discussions with people along there. And then Mayor Daines and I attended a recreation center study update at the county. Was that last week?
I think so.
It's all a blur.
Yes.
I think it was last week. And it was good to hear kind of they're putting together proposals, and I feel like getting further with that study of where we can get, and it's good to just follow it and see what the...
And at some point, they'll make that information public, but they were presenting to the steering committee.
Yeah. But it's good to see that they're getting grasp
things are
on
happening.
it and getting somewhere, which is nice. So that's all my updates, Madam Chair.
Great. Amy?
So, Bear River Local Homeless Council actually met today, just for the community at large to know. The Warming Center, which is run out of St. John's Episcopal Church on First East and First North, will open on Sunday, November 30th on a regular basis. Their hours are from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. In this interim, if a code blue is called where the temperature in our community drops below 18 degrees, they will open their doors there. St. John's will be doing it with some volunteers on hand, but only if that temperature drops below 18. So if there's individuals you know that are unhoused between now and November 30th, before you send them to St. John's, make sure that you check the state homeless website to see if there is a code blue called. A couple other things that came up with that, the Bear River Association of Governments, which also helps to provide hotel vouchers for those that are homeless, has started distributing those, but you do need an appointment. There's no walk-ins for that. So if somebody is looking for a hotel voucher, maximum of 7 days, they need to make an appointment at Bragg for that. The other piece of information that I think found me almost in tears, Logan City School District's McKinney-Vento rep, who's the one who works with homeless students, shared that as of today, there's 101 students in our schools that are homeless. Sorry.
Too many.
Wait, more than one is too many, but that's an alarming number. 101 students. So, moving on, Ernesto probably has something more to report from the library board meeting because I was at the Dignity Index that day, but we are taking applications right now for a board member. Public art, we did choose an artist for the Willow Park softball building where the referees sit or the scorekeepers sit. So in the process of finalizing what that looks like. Parks and Rec met. I think the big takeaway from that is just a reminder that the Parks and Rec is still operational Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 9:30. It's a per use basis though now. There are no passes. It's $4 per use, or you can buy a punch pass for $20. You can visit the website to see what services are available.
That's for the recreation
That's for the
center.
recreation center, yeah, 5:30 to 9:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, and Saturdays 7 to 7. There's a little bit, I think, of confusion because the school district also has decided to open up the facility in the mornings from 5:30 to 7:30. That is the school district operating it, so if you're interested in learning more about that and how that works, you need to go to loganschools.org/rec center membership to find out how you can participate in that. So it's two different things. The evening is Logan Parks and Rec. The morning, if you're interested in finding out about that, contact the Logan School District. And I also attended the county council meeting last week because I was curious about ongoing funding, mostly about the senior center, which is a group that's near and dear to my heart. That was included in the budget for this upcoming year. But I also went because I wanted to hear they are looking at an ordinance related to allowing for solar fields here in Cache County. So if you'd like to learn more about that, go to the county webpage, but they're in the process of getting ready to approve how that might look to have commercial solar fields here in Cache County. That's what I've been doing.
Ernesto?
Yes, I did miss, early last month, I was gone for that first week, if you remember, so I missed, I think, one of the board meetings that I usually attend. But I did get to attend the library board and multiple things with the youth council. The library board, they reported that most of the lingering little issues with the new building, it's not so new anymore, have been resolved. They hired a new library position, full-time library position, where, as Amy said, we're looking for new board members. And for the youth council, they got to come help us at the parade, some of the members, which was great to have them there. Get them
But they got
involved.
rid of all the candy too fast.
So I'll tell them, put a limit to how many they're handing out.
It wasn't just them.
Yeah, Jack threw a lot out too, so.
But they were very happy to be there, so that was
They
great.
had a lot of fun
Yeah.
with her.
Today, actually, I got to meet with them, and they prepared cards for veterans to take them to the center here in the valley. And we're looking forward to organizing some tours with city departments like the wastewater plant, treatment plant, the central control place, and some other places like that. I actually got invited by Green Canyon High School to go visit one of their government classes and speak about local elections just last week. And that was interesting. They were actually very involved in us. We were full for 45 minutes answering questions that they had about local elections. That was very cool.
How many participated?
There were 15 to 20 kids.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then a couple more things. Did get to attend the Creek Dinner. I've been doing that for a few years now. Their main fundraiser dinner. It was great to be there and to see the generosity of people in our community to help fund that organization that I think does great supporting our newest immigrants in the valley. And then last week, I want to thank Chief Simmons and our sheriff who so willingly held a public meeting with concerned citizens. We had over 100 people there at the library who had questions about ICE enforcement and the new agreement that was signed by the county, the 287G agreement to cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And I think it was a great public meeting. Lots of people had questions, and I think they left very well informed with what the intentions are and what's going on.
Great.
At least here in the county. There may be much going on outside of the county that we can't answer.
How did you feel about it?
About the meeting?
Yeah.
I think it was great. I think there was a lot of misinformation going on, a lot of concerns based on things that we're seeing happening outside of our county, including what happened at the airport. But putting all of that aside, I think people felt great about being able to speak to our chief and the sheriff directly and get answers and feel like they can be held accountable about things that are happening here in our county.
Good.
So
Thanks for sharing.
I will say that one of the things as we established the youth council, reestablished the youth council this year, Ernesto and Amy both have been instrumental in working with that. One thing that the students wanted was a sweater or a shirt, and Ernesto is modeling for us
Do you want to walk
the youth city council shirt. And so all of the students will have those. So when they go down to the Capitol in January and meet with legislators, they will be a cohesive group that, has their name right here. So
Make
that's
it
pretty
easier to
exciting.
not lose them.
Jeannie, can I add one quick thing?
Yes.
So if people are interested in the library board, the applications are due this Friday. So if you're interested in serving on the Logan City
One opening?
board, one opening. But
That would be
the
John's.
applications
Darn it.
due Friday,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Friday, right, John? Okay.
And our last item for council business is our December meeting schedule. We are planning on holding 2 meetings in December. That's not usually what we do, but we are planning on having 2 meetings in December. And so look forward to coming twice instead of just once. We'll move now to our action items. I'm going to have Craig and the mayor and Amy, who all 3 have something they would like to say with respect to this before we opened the public hearing regarding the disposition of real property in the city of Logan.
All right, so let's give a little bit of context or background with the process. The city is formed or organized under a strong mayor form of government, which means there's a separation of powers. The executive powers reside with the mayor, the legislative powers reside with the council. The disposition of real property or the selling of real property is an executive power, so it's under the authority of the mayor. The purpose of tonight is state code requires us to have a hearing.
I see some people trying to listen better. Is it okay if you just talk to the microphone a little more?
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah. State code requires a public hearing before we can dispose of real property of this size. And so the purpose of the public hearing is to allow input from the council and from the public to give to the mayor about this disposition of real property. So this real property, there's no action item. The council's not going to vote on this. This real property is located at 3rd South, 1st East, just east of Maverick. It's that open space there. The city is going to convey this property to Bragg. The conveyance document, the quitclaim deed, has a deed restriction in it that says the property must be used for low-income housing. It's defined and governs how this property will be used. Bragg must develop this property within 5 years. If the property is not developed or is not used for low-income housing, it'll revert back to the city. Anything you want to add, Amy or Mayor?
I'd just add that, again, our intent, one of the biggest issues we hear in our community is the lack of affordable housing. And again, the state requires cities to come up with a moderate income housing plan. And as part of that, we surveyed needs, and there is a huge need for senior housing for disabled individuals. And so as we've been discussing how to move some of those goals along, again, which we have to report back annually to the state, we decided that we've been working with Bragg and having conversations for a number of months now, and they are interested in moving ahead and building, again, some housing that would be for seniors who had some disabilities. Now, again, they still will have to go through the rezone process and also go through a planning commission process if this moves forward. So with that process, neighbors are notified. Again, there's a very defined process. But again, we feel like this does absolutely meet one of our housing goals in our moderate income housing plan. And again, this would be a gift to Bragg. So this is the city's contribution. We're not in a position to build or run housing, but Bragg could do that. So our part of the deal would essentially be the property. And when we purchased that property some time ago, we used some affordable housing funds. When you have what you call redevelopment agency areas, the state requires you to set aside a certain portion that goes toward affordable housing in your community, because again, that's a need. So we did use some of those funds, and if that property was used for anything else, they'd have to be repaid. But we've always thought that could be a potential good location for affordable housing. Again, it's downtown, it's near bus routes, it's near services. So it could be a possibility. Again, still has a lot of the process to go through. But that is our intent, is to gift that that property to Bragg for that purpose. And again, if for some reason it didn't work out, and there isn't substantial completion within 5 years, that property would revert back to the city. But we would encourage and support their ability to move forward and do that. And then
So
Amy,
Holly,
yeah.
but before you do that, just in case, we have people who don't know what Bragg is.
Oh, good.
Bear River Association of Governments, and can you give us just a small overview of why partnering with them is correct for accomplishing this goal?
And we do have the director of Bragg, Lucas Martin, here tonight. So if there are specific questions that council has for him, or if he'd like to make comments in the public hearing, that would be appropriate. But they are, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the local housing authority. And again, they are the ones that deal with some of these challenges we have and try and help folks who need affordable housing. And they, of course, have waiting lists that are much greater than we have capacity for. And they try and place them in various locations where landlords own that. But again, if they had a property that they oversaw themselves, that would be very helpful to meeting the needs of that community.
Amy?
So I wrote out what I want to say because I want to make sure I said it properly. But so I really believe, and I hope you all do too, that regardless of economic status or where we live, we should all be able to live in age and accessible, affordable, age-friendly housing in our own community. Older adults are at the epicenter of the national housing affordability and homelessness crisis. Nationally, almost 1 in 3 older renter households pay more than half of their monthly income for rent, leaving them just one surprise bill away from losing their housing. In Logan right now, 6% of seniors over 65 live in poverty. That's 212 of our neighbors. In our county, it's 917. Older adults are the fastest growing age group of those at risk of losing homes. They comprise half of the homeless population right now, and those numbers are expected to triple. I don't want to see that happen here in Logan. Many of our older adults live alone on limited incomes, and many of them have mobility and other health challenges, and yet very little of our housing stock offers the most basic of accessibility features: no-step entries, single-floor living, wide enough doors and hallways for wheelchairs. Older people are likely to report difficulties entering, navigating, and using different parts of their existing homes. Housing options are an important part of livability, especially for those seeking to remain in our community where their current home no longer fits their needs. They deserve places with livability features, neighborhood services, transportation, and opportunities for engagement. Those all contribute to their well-being and can even combat isolation and loneliness, both serious health issues in their own right. I think this is an incredibly important project for Bragg, for our community, and for Logan City to participate in.
Thank you. Is there anything else the council would like to say before I open the public hearing?
Covered.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on the potential disposition of real property by Logan City for this purpose, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less.
Good evening. I am Dr. Gail Yost. I live at 261 South 100 East, just half a block north of this potential property for low income. I'm also the neighborhood vice chair right now. And as I see it, we have long needed something like this in our neighborhood, so that we can say we're a neighborhood of goodwill and taking care of others. We can't just keep worrying about what's been built or hasn't been built yet anywhere else in the neighborhood. We have a neighborhood that has a lot of renters who are in need. Usually they are low income too. We were low income when we moved into our house 46 years ago plus. And we were expecting our third baby, who is now a cardiac care nurse in North Carolina. Thankfully, we let him live. It's my old joke for all of my children because I have raised at least 20 children. Some of them ours and some of them came to us through other means. I do know I'm getting old to be able to, yes.
We all are.
Yes, and to be able to say this and see the history, knowing that originally the property was supposed to be a couple of houses there, and one of them burnt down, and I think it caused the other one to go too. And it was a wonderful young couple with one child at the time. We need to take care of our neighborhood. We need to make sure that we have people and associations in our neighborhood that take care of each other. We have to take care of others, otherwise we can't continue to be a good neighborhood in which to live. And I think this idea of sending it to Bragg, I worked in Bragg for 8 years as a human services specialist in the 80s before I started my PhD work. So I know how important this is. My PhD is in family and human development. I think we're all humans here, right? We have to take care of one another. If we don't take care of one another, we're all lost. It's not a neighborhood, it's not a congregation of good people together, and we need to do that. And I think this is going to be a great help in our neighborhood. So I'm all for it, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this?
So, my name's Gideon Martin. I was born and raised here in Logan, and I am in full support of giving this property to Bragg for them to develop low-income housing. Obviously, as has already been stated multiple times tonight, it is a big problem facing our community, is the fact that housing prices keep going up, and the demand for housing is matching it. So we need more programs that are actively helping individuals, especially disabled elderly individuals who have very limited resources for actually being able to get into housing. And Bragg is an excellent program to give it to. I volunteered on and off with them through programs like VITA and PIT for the last 6 years or so. And they do an excellent job of actively helping the community and engaging in practices that are extremely beneficial to our environment and locale.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing no one, we will not have a vote on this, but I will ask the council if they have any further comments, and we'll move on.
Very well covered.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you. Our intent will be to go ahead and take care of the paperwork and gift this property to Bragg so they can proceed with, again, coming for a rezone, getting a project together and bringing that to the community. So,
Fantastic, thank you.
okay.
That's a great fit.
Thank you very much.
Our second public hearing is a budget adjustment. Rich? You're on.
To appropriate $131,000 of operating revenues in our 911 fund, which are restricted or committed toward that purpose, for additional training of dispatchers. It's not all directly training, but it's backfilling as well as opening up the opportunities so some of us can be trained. As you know, we've had a massive turnover in that area, and now we have to do significantly more training than we've done in the past.
Well, we finally filled all the positions that were empty.
Finally up to where we need to be.
Right. Okay, anything else? This is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
I'll move acceptance of resolution 25-44.
I'll second that.
the motion.
Oops.
Oh, I'm wrestling for it.
Oh, Mike beat.
You gotta do something exciting for the college kids that look, lobbying this meeting.
So, any further discussion? All in favor, those say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Rich, you are up for the first workshop item.
This is a request to appropriate 2 grants the police department has received. First is $5,889. Both of these are federal. And the second one is $9,374 for training and additional items.
Okay. Any questions? I just want to say to those in the audience, you came to a good meeting because last time it was 4 hours long.
We could have gone for 5.
And the one before it was
almost
4
5
hours long. Yeah.
So you picked the right one, so welcome. Thank you for being here. So we have one more workshop item, which is a code amendment. And I'll turn the time over to Russ Holly.
Give us something exciting, Russ.
So you spoke too soon. I have a 3-hour presentation.
Yes, there you go.
You might have to have a 3-hour presentation for this one.
This will be quick. So a couple months ago, Planning Commission processed a infill project that they ultimately had to deny because our code wasn't clear between the difference between a single-family infill and a multifamily infill. So I was charged with amending the code and proposing the changes to better clarify the differences. So infill is generally defined as building inwardly, and the Cash Valley Mall project could be considered infill or a flag lot, and so we needed better definitions for the two. This is dealing with flag lots and what I now term middle of the block infill. And so Logan was built on the plat of design, which is this plat with really large blocks. And so we have a lot of empty space in the middle that's underutilized. And the tricky part, the balance, is trying to better utilize this space, but not to a point where you ruin the character of the neighborhood or you feel like the neighbors don't want to live there anymore because everything's too tight. And so that's been the tricky kind of back and forth because this type of development better utilizes infrastructure and utilities and puts less pressure on sprawling outward into the ag lands, which takes away our ag lands and worsens our traffic congestion problems. So here's 3 examples. So the red dot would be a platted lot that was legally existed, but how do you get there and how do you provide emergency fire truck access? The yellow would be a classic flag lot that was done years ago and there's now a home there. And then the blue one represents, like, maybe there's space back there, but it's so tight that it's probably not feasible to try to get another home back there because of the tightness of that space. This example is not infill, so this would be greenfield development. This is the Logan Station mixed use. And when we have projects of this size and scope, we have requirements that say you need to continue to build blocks. So it's not a flag lot, it's actually build a holding block with city roads. And so they're working on a project that basically follows these new block lines. So we still have the requirements to create new blocks in the larger areas, but when you have smaller middle of the block, there's 2 categories. First is single family flag lots. And the second category is single family middle of the block infill. This would be 3 to 6 homes. A flag lot is 1 additional home. Multifamily flag lots, this would be a new duplex on 1 new lot. And then multifamily middle of the block infill would be 3 to 20 units. You get beyond those thresholds and then you're required to actually build a city road and build a new block. But if you're in these categories, there's
some specific requirements. So just a couple of examples. So this is a block, again, typical block, and 339 is large enough that you could definitely flag lot it. Here's one way to subdivide it. Another way is to do 2 squares, and then the yellow is an easement. So the yellow is actually part of the front lot, but the back lot has an easement to traverse or drive over. Here's an example of middle of the block infill. So this is a big enough space where it doesn't make sense to do 1 flag lot. It would make sense to do, 3, 4, 5, 6 homes. Here's an example of an infill project that was done in the 1960s. This is in the Adams neighborhood, but it shows how they can be done in a way that I think doesn't detract from the character.
What's the size of that road on that one? Do you know how big that road is?
This road is not as big as our standard streets. I didn't measure it, but I'd say it's probably 40 feet-ish.
Okay.
And then multifamily also has potential. We have several blocks of multifamily that are underdeveloped that could utilize either flag lots or middle of the infill. So these regulations do not apply to commercial. Commercial is a different animal altogether. And if the Lee's Marketplace decided to further develop, we have commercial requirements that they specify driveway width, they specify drive aisles, but you could certainly infill a block like this. So the blue square could be a new parking terrace, and then the yellow blocks could be kind of infill commercial to create more of a traditional, Main Street type setting. But those would be dictated in a commercial code. So here's some examples that I drew. So this would just be a flag lot on a single family block.
But we already allow those.
We do.
So.
We do. The Planning Commission recommended some changes. The original proposal was the flag lot should be 150% of the size of the base lot. And Planning Commission said no, it should just be the same size. The driveway going back is still required to be a minimum 20 feet wide with additional setbacks, and that will allow a fire truck to get back as well as ambulance or other emergency.
But it's a driveway, not a street.
That is a shared driveway. This is not a street. This is a private shared driveway.
Currently, it's 150% for a single flag lot, correct?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, the reason we made that choice years ago was to not have small houses tucked away, that they had to have some level of presence, and part of the 50% was the driveway.
Correct. Exactly.
And so you're going to, if you make them the same size, it may be that you end up with, it's more difficult to flag lot.
It could be a little tighter with that Planning Commission change. They did recommend setbacks increase to 125%, which gives you a little bit more cushion. That was their recommendation. They voted 4-1 on that recommendation.
Okay.
So here's an example of middle of the block. So this is what we call a new private access road. So this would be more of a street. It's got 2 travel lanes, it's got sidewalk, and it's got parking. But we also allowed a caveat because we found this was one of the issues for the project that I mentioned earlier, is we have these weird pinch points because every block is unique and we have these existing homes. And so this code allows for a 30% pinch point to remove parking from the cross section. You still have 2 lanes of travel and you still have your sidewalk, but just maybe to help projects get around those pinch points. And so this is an example of 5 new homes on a small little cul-de-sac. These would be private roads. They're owned by the homeowners association, and they do not meet our public road standards. Our public road standards are now 60 to 66 feet wide. This is about 40 what is it, 28, yeah, it's around 40 feet.
So they get no city services on that street, then no snow removal, garbage collection has to come out to the curb on the main road, et cetera, correct? When it's a private road like that?
No on the snow removal. Garbage, maybe, depending on how they configure it and the access back there. Garbage does go through private areas on occasion, but no snow removal.
That looks unusually familiar to the lot that we just had to subdivide into two. That I want to do that.
You're intimately familiar with these.
You can undivide it.
What?
You can undivide it.
I know, but now I just did house plans for it, so.
So this would be an example of multifamily,
Russ.
similar configuration, and then this would be middle of the block multifamily.
So
the same road standards here, but you can anticipate more units in larger buildings in these scenarios.
So we're going to stick multifamily in the middle of the block with single family around the edges?
If it's zoned, yes. So this block is zoned MR20. There's a handful of single family homes, but there's quite a few apartments, and then some of these have converted. So in this case, if it's zoned multifamily, we expect multifamily development. In this case, where it's single family, we expect single family development.
Is it zoned that way?
Because it's zoned that way.
Okay.
So once upon a time, I'm the old person here. When we were talking in Adams neighborhood, we talked about creating not complete streets, but streets in the middle to allow for a development that had more of a neighborhood feel. It was more attached to the neighborhood, so you would do divide a block into 4 pieces. But I don't know whether we have, is it possible for us to do that and create a smaller streetscape for that type of development? I feel like if we allow these little loop-de-loop, things in here, you eliminate a lot of the block from being able to be developed.
That is still an option. We call that the mini block, and that's highlighted here in the table. And it's, sorry.
By Holly.
If you do that, it does have to be a public street. So if we create a new block, it would be a public street.
But could we alter our code so that that kind of inner block is a smaller public street?
Yes, we could, but we would have to coordinate with Public Works, and there's some considerations
How small
that
are you thinking?
they're going to want to see.
Well, I'm just thinking of like a Marindale kind of street.
Maybe slightly bigger than Marindale.
Yeah.
So all the way across.
It's really cute.
All the way
It's really
across.
cute, but it has like
Right, but I would
Oh, it
think
does,
that if
like
you
off.
wanted to, you could start the street
It's right.
and build on either side, and then, as development happened, then the street could continue
Yeah.
and divide the block. I am a little concerned that, well, I'm probably jumping ahead in your presentation, but
No, my presentation's done.
I
The
am
20
concerned.
3 hours.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the 20 units or more triggers a through street. So in some cases, they may have to create a mini block. If they're trying to get 21 homes, then they're going to have to punch that street through. You would not be able to cul-de-sac it. And so a block like this that's, very underdeveloped, maybe it makes sense to demolish one of these homes and then get 21 homes on a new street.
But even if we could figure it out that they could do half the block and develop that part, so we do all the time. We have people with, they have a stub. And so I feel like we're making little, I don't know, we're not investing in.
You don't like cul-de-sacs.
Well, it's not that I don't like cul-de-sacs, I just feel like it takes away the ability to truly develop the inner block.
So you're suggesting an additional option
Or an instead of.
of adoption?
And instead of option.
instead of option.
Well, actually, I think we already have some of that in the code.
Yeah.
I think the concern you would see is it's a lot easier to develop one or two properties into a flag lot or an infill development versus if you want to punch a road all the way through. You're now impacting more homes and more people.
But perhaps,
So it might be hypothetically better in the long run, and I would hand that to you, that sure, it might be nice to have our little mini streets through. But does that make it so difficult to build housing and so difficult to do infill that you now get a lot less of it? I think that's the concern I would have.
yeah, well, I don't know the answer to that. I just
If
feel
we
like.
set the bar too high.
Well, I feel like we're setting it pretty low.
Well, I feel like housing needs some help.
And so, I don't know, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
So if somebody had a big enough parcel that was big enough to do like a standard city block, the 660 by 660, they could design it with that mini block, you know, correct? That's what you're
Absolutely,
saying?
yeah.
So
With
then
our
you'd be able to
current
utilize that property maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, if they
But still keep it on a grid.
Yes, we're seeing the new subdivisions do that. They're not a 600-foot square block.
Yeah.
They're 300 feet and they're more rectangular in nature. But they align
But then you
eventually.
get 4 blocks and you can like actually utilize the space a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, it just feels more neighborhood-like.
It does
to
feel
me.
more neighborhoody. You know, it does
And
with the smaller.
it more reflects the way we started this town, but.
You don't have to have a
Were you here when we
gigantic
started the
block,
town?
yeah.
Just.
Oh my God.
Just about. Ages.
I'm glad I realized it.
You called me old earlier, I gotta teach you back.
So anyway, I've thought about this since I was at Planning Commission, and I just have some problems with, you know, cutting out this little circle here, and then over here there's another little circle, and over here there's another little circle, and then you've got like all these disjointed,
And I think your concern's very valid.
so.
I just worry if it makes it too difficult that you end up not seeing any of it.
Well, show us the circle, for example, like one of the.
That one.
No, not that one, that
Oh.
one's already built.
Which that one has a 30-foot road, by the way, Mark.
Is it 30?
But-
This one? Sure did.
What
Yeah.
would prevent this one right here from making that road straight up to wherever the end is of their ownership
And stub it.
and doing the houses on either side of the street?
So Planning Commission still has that ability, but they look north and say, is it logical that that road will continue and develop in the future? And if that's the case, they do require the stub. In this case, where there's 3 homes up there, I don't know if they would require a stub in anticipation of one of those homes being
But-
demolished.
There's one house that would be demolished.
But
Yeah,
Russ, correct me if I'm
to go straight
wrong.
through.
In that case, you're demolishing one, but you may only gain one new one here, and so it's a net 0.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had to stub that road, you would still have to have turnaround access for snowplows, garbage trucks, fire trucks, ambulance.
No
And
garbage trucks.
No garbage
Yeah.
trucks, but you still need
No
emergency
snow.
access turnaround, so you're still going to end up with the same amount of asphalt space, maybe even more. So you're taking, that would be a concern I would have is, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then again, that's the balancing act. They're tricky sites with
Yeah.
multiple owners,
Yeah.
some willing, some unwilling, and you're trying to shoehorn something in.
But, yeah, it's just interesting to me that, yeah, I don't,
So the setback between the infill houses and the existing homes is what?
125%.
5%? Okay.
Could have done that on my property.
Sorry. We're too
Would
late.
have had 6 lots. I know. One for each of
so,
my siblings.
anyways, it's,
If you have further questions, don't hesitate to ask them, and I'll answer them by next meeting.
Thank you, Russ.
do you want, anybody have any other
No.
comments?
No, I think your concerns are very valid.
Overall, the planning commission was
It was a
on
4-1.
board with this and recommended reduction in the size.
The only change they made was the reduction in size for the single family. Otherwise, they were on board We did have a couple public comments, 2 in favor, 1 against.
Reasoning for in favor versus
In
against?
favor, they like the idea of this because it provides more housing options in unique situations. And then the against was, it was actually a developer that wanted smaller roads and tighter setbacks.
Because he can't develop what he's
Because
got.
he can't get back there, but we thought this over, and we do need sufficient road width, and you do need sufficient setbacks. You don't want these roads going right next to an existing home. It's just a privacy issue.
Can we have the chief speak to the issue of access?
And while he's about to come up, Russ, can I ask you as well?
Can you talk about
Afterwards.
access for fire with this type of development? Sorry to put you on the spot, chief.
Yeah, well, and it kind of would be, I'd really like to consult the fire marshals because there are some specifics to flag lots, access widths for our ladder truck, distances from fire hydrants. But those codes are pretty specific to those zones.
Okay.
So if there's some specifics you want me to get with Fire Marshal Humphreys, I'm happy to do so.
And he reviews every subdivision application, and we'll put those fire specifications
So
on
that would be part of going through planning.
Yeah, and you know about that.
Prior to going through planning?
But see,
They
most
should
of
always be reviewed
most of
by
these
the
infill lots will not go to planning commission because they are smaller.
That's right.
It's the same review and the same
But it's still
comments,
reviewed.
and then they're implemented on the final plat.
Yeah, that's
So
what
they bring us their preliminary plat, fire marshal reviews it,
Okay.
city engineer reviews it, and then those are implemented on the final plat.
So before anything's approved?
Yeah.
That's
Final approval,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So with our subdivision, that was the same way. It's like, we know what we have to do before we get there, so.
And Russ, you had one planning commission vote no, planning commission member. Can you articulate why there was a nay vote there?
Yeah, it was David Lewis. He did not like reducing the lot size. He wanted to keep it at 150. He wanted that extra room.
Okay, thank you.
The compromise was the setbacks were going 125.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You said you had 2.5 hours more.
Yeah, where's the rest of it?
I'm done.
Are there any other considerations this evening?
Yeah, I have one if nobody else has one.
Well,
I don't have any other,
Even if-
I've talked enough tonight.
It's your consideration, so if you want to talk about it,
What is it?
it's the one you and I talked about like a month ago.
What did we talk about?
That we should assign the vice chair responsibilities.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Bring
given
it
that I
up.
won't be
Yeah.
the vice chair in a year.
Bring
I
it
mean,
up.
in a month or two.
Yeah.
Maybe. Amy had a great idea recently, and I just wanted to float it past the council, and this is where we can do it, right? Asking the vice chair at every meeting, after every meeting, to get the the public comment list from Teresa afterwards, and assign them the responsibility of emailing and making sure that they have a contact for a council member and have been, that we touch base with them after the meeting and make sure that they've been taken care of.
Follow up to their
good.
comment or
Follow up.
question.
That's a
Yeah, good. That's a great idea.
Is there any opposition to that? If
I like that idea.
I work with Teresa to make that happen
That would be a
Madam
vice chair
Chair.
responsibility.
for an ongoing vice chair
A
responsibility.
lot of times it's assigned to a staff member.
It is.
To do, but.
But I think it'd be
there's
good
some
to
that are
have us.
not. Yeah, there's some that are not, so I think that's.
well, I think in some cases, there's no actionable item.
There is, but I still think it's good to
Follow up with.
them and make sure they know that they were heard and listened to in those comments. Because I know a lot of times for me, especially the last 2 meetings, right, we have public comment at the beginning of the meeting, then we have a 5-hour meeting. By the time I get home, that's not necessarily what I'm thinking about all the time. But I think it was a great suggestion from Amy. And if there's not any opposition, then I think we, I guess, add it to my responsibilities for the time being.
3 more
No issues?
meetings at least.
3 more meetings.
Yep.
Can we cancel December 16th? It's my son's birthday. He's going to be 6. He won't understand why I'm not there.
You can recuse yourself.
I know. It's fine.
You don't have to.
I'll just bring him. He'll think it's so fun.
Ride a scooter around.
Yeah.
Are there any other considerations this evening? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Go vote.
Yep. Yeah.
Go vote if you haven't.
Go vote.